Hey everybody, one Wisdom here. It is now Wednesday, June 19th, about 1:30 in the morning. As promised, we're going to get things started here. Last night I actually recorded the results. We had our sudden death match, Camo and Pop Fizz. That essentially wrapped up our Castaways versus Newlanders pole battle series, if you will. However, we had two options. We could either seed the tournament at that point in time, Camo being our number one overall seed, 8-0. Chill would technically be the 16th seed with a mark of 0-8. Gets cluttered there in the middle, but rather than do that, our other option was actually to come in and do Castaways versus Castaways, which you can see in the back line, and then Newlanders versus Newlanders, which you can see in the row in front of you. Obviously, went ahead, threw that up on the poll. The way I was personally leaning was to do Castaways, Newlanders, Newlanders. Reason for that, there's some awesome matches here. There's actually a ton of them just in the first round. So essentially, what we're going to do, it'll be the exact same format as last time. Just, we'll say we'll keep Tornado here stationary. Dino-Rang will face him. Then we're going to have Sunburn come in, face Tornado. And in that same round 2 where Sunburn comes into this position, we'll basically see Dino-Rang come around and face Wham-Shell. They're not ordered alphabetically, they're ordered by element. That's kind of what you see here. Castaway by element, alphabetically that is, by element. And then Newlanders here, so that's the same setup we had last time. Chase McCain is hidden. He's a little difficult to see here, but I think somebody will probably be able to track him down. That said, this is going to be, again, the same setup, but also on the blog. It'll be the right-hand side just below the Twitter feed. We'll have basically 4 matches from the Castaways each week, 4 matches from the Newlanders. Since this one is kind of getting off late, due to various reasons, I may go ahead and extend it the extra couple of days. I'll run it until basically next Saturday, primarily just because that's sort of what we did the first time last time when we had the elemental showdowns, Tornado, Jet-Vac, Ghost Roaster, Fright Rider, etc. Plus, like I said, there's just some really, really good matches already in this first round. So essentially, we'll keep it simple here. If Camo were to win out against all of the Castaways, there's obviously 7 of them. He can't battle himself. He would have a mark of 7-0. We will couple that with his performance against the Newlanders here with an 8-0 mark. He'd be 15-0. Similarly, since Chill went 0-8, we'll just say theoretically she loses down the line here to every Newlander. She'd have 0-7 in this round. That would put her at a combined mark of 0-15. When we get to that point, the 15th match essentially overall, at that point in time we'll be ready to seed the tournament. We'll play that one out, and then we can kind of take it from there and move on to what we want to do next. So again, big thanks to everyone that's voted, and with that said, let's go ahead and get started here. These are going to be some really tough ones. Again, I can't stress this enough. We've seen numerous times how tight these have been. There's been several instances where we might have had, say, like 60 votes in the majority of battles, and then maybe like 58 in the other, and the margin was 1 or 2 votes. If you can, pick your favorite. If it's an absolute toss-up, we'll just say Tornado is your favorite, Dino-Rang is your second favorite. Just be forewarned that if you don't make a selection, your lack of voting could actually cost your character. Granted, I realize, you'd be content if it's that tight, but still keep that in mind. Again, don't treat this just like a player versus player in battle mode. I want you to take everything into account, and by everything, we mean the aesthetics of the figure. Say that you hate Dino-Rang's pose, use that against him. If you love Tornadoes, that's a plus in his favor. Similarly, obviously factor in, how you feel about them in player versus player battle mode, the mini games, how well you like them in gameplay. Say that you're horrible with Jet-Vac. and yet Flashwing, you can come in and you can just clean house with her every time, take out the tough enemies. Factor that in. If you liked Shroom Boom and you hated his upgrade paths, consider that. If you thought Voodoo was lame and then you upgraded him and he's one of your favorites, factor virtually every facet you can think of into this thing. And we essentially want you to pick your true favorite. Obviously, there's some instances you might love Warnado. He's your #1 Skylander. But you might concede that, he would probably be beaten by, say, Flashwing, we'll just say, in player versus player battle mode. Go ahead, factor that in, but then say, hey, I like his aesthetics better. I enjoy playing with him in gameplay better. I like his upgrades better. They're more unique. You get the idea. Same thing we did last time, but just in case someone's coming into this series for the first time, that's what we're going for. That said, our first matchup here in the Castaways bracket, we have Warnado, who comes in with a mark of 5-3. He is taking on Dino-Rang, who also comes in with a mark of 5-3. This is Air versus Earth. If you followed along on the blog these past 2 years or so the Skylanders been out, you know that these are two of my favorite characters. While I do like a lot of the Castaways, Warnado is the guy that I really, really wanted to come out since I saw the poster that came with the starter pack. And then Dino-Rang is actually one of my favorites. I feel like he's still underappreciated. Generally, with like, oh, they better bring the Castaway back clamor. You usually, honestly, hear more about Voodoo and Boomer than you do Dino-Rang. Obviously, Camo, Sunburn, Warnado, Wham-Shell, Big Hit, still very popular. Ghost Roaster, got quite a bit more of a cult following. Dino-Rang is kind of a forgotten guy, in my opinion. Boomer and Voodoo, I know they were the essential shelf warmers, if you will, at the time. It has come to a point now that I feel like they're mentioned more in conversation than Dino-Rang himself. So maybe we can take that into account, factor some of that in. But for me personally, this is a really tough one to pick. I know quite a few of you that leave the comments on the videos feel the same way. I know these two are favorites for a lot of people. But it is what it is. Make your choice if you can't. Again, just be forewarned, that could potentially cost, one of your characters. But came in both with a mark of 5-3. That one should be interesting. This one, again, right off the bat, we've got Castaways from the Fire and Life element coming into the mix. What am I doing with Dino-Rang? Okay. Sunburn Ales from Dragon Peak. He is, of course, our Fire element Castaway. He comes in with a mark of 6-2. That was actually 4th overall in the Castaways, 4th overall, and I guess tied with Hot Dog, if you will. Camo is currently our top dog juggernaut. He comes in with a mark of 8-0, undefeated against the Newlanders. This one, again, I think is going to be pretty tight. I feel like I know what people are going to do. The Dino-Rang Warnado one, I actually don't know what people are going to do in that one. I see it being very tight. I think this one will be competitive. I think I know the way people are going to lean. It's based on just a track record history that I've established with these guys. But this one should be interesting. And again, it is a huge matchup. 6-2 Sunburn, 8-0 Camo. Our next one, perhaps one of the greatest showdowns of all time. This is essentially, I know things have changed. People have upgraded them and I finally appreciate them. Back not too long ago, when you couldn't find, say, Warnado, couldn't find Camo, you were looking for the Igniter single pack, maybe you were looking for Wham-Shell, it was still hard to find. These two guys in my hand were the essential forgotten Castaway. They were Castaways before Castaways were Castaways, if you will. For whatever reason, they just didn't seem to resonate well with people. Maybe because he's a troll. I don't know, I guess Voodoo just maybe wasn't as flashy as some of the other characters or something. They have huge followings now. They did back in the day as well. It was just, it took people a long time to kind of warm up to these two in particular. Now, of course, they are incredibly hard to find. You're having to pay crazy money just to get them. But Voodoo hails from the magic element. Similarly, Boomer, obviously, tech element. Both of these guys are a blast when you fully upgrade him, and particularly Boomer. He's just a ton of fun, literally ton, and has an explosives. They came in, they both did pretty good. They kind of got on hot streaks there against the Newlanders. Voodoo is actually our last place castaway, if you will, with a mark of 3 and 5. Boomer did very, very well. Came in 5 and 3, knotted up with several others. But I know the way I would go in this one. I think I know what people will do. But nonetheless, I think this one will be a pretty competitive matchup here. Again, Voodoo 3 and 5, Boomer 5 and 3. Our final Castaway versus Castaway matchup in this rendition pits none other than our number 2 and 3. Essentially, these guys are knotted at 7 and 1 marks. Should be an epic showdown. I will go ahead and put myself on record. I think Warnado Dino-Rang will probably be right behind this one. I think the other two castaways will be tight, but I will predict that this one will be, I'll just go ahead and call it our marquee matchup. They're both 7 and 1. Ghost Roaster from the undead element, Wham-Shell from the water element. Both have pretty dedicated legions of fans. I think that's going to play into this quite nicely. Kind of different characters too in terms of gameplay. You'll have to factor that in. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. This is one of the reasons I wanted to see Castaways. Just really, in all honesty, this entire first round of Castaway action is, for lack of a better word, epic. Every matchup is going to be pretty intense. But again, I'm going to go ahead and label this one our marquee. I think it's going to be an absolute showdown down to the wire. It's going to be a deal where you're going to need to tell your friends that are a fan of the character you like to vote. It's going to be a deal where you're not going to want to tell your friends that are a fan of the other character to vote. I think it's going to be that tight. I could be wrong. It's happened a few times. But bottom line, I think this one is going to be our marquee matchup. I'm very excited about it. I know what I would do. If you follow along with any of this or anything in general on the blog or my videos, you probably know which way I'm leaning. But again, don't let that swing you. I'll kind of reveal once we have the results in what I was pulling for, hoping to see. Bottom line, I think this is going to be a killer matchup right there. Ghost Roaster, Wham-Shell. Now, this is where things get interesting. Where we had, I mean, like I said, epic showdowns there in the Castaway land. While these matchups with the Newlanders might not be quite as intense, they are actually very meaningful. You basically had Hot Dog and Pop Fizz do very well, 6 and 2, 5 and 3. Fright Rider was third at 3 and 5. Everybody else was 1 and 7, with the exception of Chill, which came in with a mark of 0 and 8. I think she may turn that around here. But this is going to be, we're going to see some people move on and some people drop off. That gets started. Air Element Newlander Jet-Vac is coming in. He's going to be taking on Flashwing from the Earth element. I actually like both of these characters. I'm not quite sure how to gauge them for the simple fact my only experience with everyone else's opinions on them has basically come in their upgrade paths and then against the Castaways, which that's easy to skew things in terms of Newlander specifics. But this one's tough for me. This is about like Warnado Dino-Rang. It may actually be my toughest decision in this round. But again, they both come in with a mark of 1 and 7. Something's got to give. Our next matchup, fairly interesting one. Pretty sure everybody's thinking along the same lines how this one's going to go. The stats kind of say it all. Hot Dog 6 and 2, Shroom Boom 1 and 7. I will say for some of the Newlanders, just like with Boomer and Voodoo, if you have not taken the time to upgrade them, I would encourage you to do so. I have upgrade paths, pretty much both paths for every character almost, that you can consult if you're kind of concerned or haven't done it yet. Factor all that stuff in, give them a fair shake. Someone that's horrible, with their primary, secondary attacks. They may turn out to be someone that you like if you actually take the time to, go ahead and fully upgrade them. But 1 and 7 Shroom Boom, 6 and 2 Hot Dog. Cast your vote. We'll see what happens. Let's see here. This next one, Pop Fizz, the motion of the potion. He comes in fresh off his sudden death defeat with a mark of 5 and 3. Finds himself up against Tech Element Newlander Sprocket, who comes in at 1 and 7. I know which way I'd go in this one. I'm pretty sure I know what direction everyone else would go. I'm going to say right now, I think that either the Pop Fizz Sprocket or the Hot Dog Shroom Boom is going to be our biggest margin of victory. It's really just going to depend who's on the blog and votes. In all honesty, I could see it going either way. Our final matchup in the Newlander brackets pits Fright Rider. He had a pretty respectable mark at 3 and 5. Chill is our only winless character in this entire thing. She has a mark of 0 and 8. I've said it, I don't know how many times in a row now that we've done these matchup videos. I really like Chill. Can't see, but I've got the light core versions on top of the Battleground starter pack back there behind Chaos. Again, her upgrade paths to me, I kind of like him. Fright Rider, that said, he's pretty sweet as well. That said, these two, I'm partial to both of them because they both have upgrade paths that have my name in them. So again, that makes them both awesome. Also, just by default. I'll go ahead and say, I think Jet-Vac Flashwing is going to be tight. Man, it's hard to say. I think this one's actually going to be pretty close. I think I know what people are going to lean towards. I'll have to think about it a little bit longer, in all honesty. I do like both of the characters very well overall. But I think this will be a very interesting matchup. Might kind of give us an idea of what to expect in the Newlander Series, as we kind of need to gauge the performance of Fright Rider and Chill. As in, will Fright Rider continue his winning ways, or will Chill be able to kind of start coming and clicking off some wins? But that is our final matchup there. This is essentially round 1 of the continuation. Castaways, Newlanders again, just to get myself on the record. Dino-Rang Warnado, that is going to be very tight, in my opinion. Voodoo Boomer is an interesting matchup, as is Sunburn, like I said, the whole Castaway lineup. The marquee matchup to me is going to be between 7 and 1 Ghost Roaster and 7 and 1 Wham-Shell. I think that's actually probably going to be our tightest race overall. Jet-Vac Flashwing, I see that one being tight. Similarly, Fright Rider and Chill, I think, is going to be pretty competitive. Biggest blowout, take your pick here, Hot Dog Shroom Boom or Pop Fizz Sprocket. I think that'll probably be the either one of those. I think are going to have the widest margin of victories. Again, who do I pick personally? I'll tell you in the results video. I don't want to sway you. I just kind of try to come in here, present the matches, and then kind of, I think I know which way everyone's going to go on most of these. But the entire Castaway lineup is killer. Going to be real interesting to see how that pans out. Jet-Vac Flashwing, I think that'll be real tight, as mentioned. And Fright Rider Chill, I think both of those are great matchups. Should tell us a little bit what to expect in terms of their future matches as well. That said, these are the matches. I'm going to go ahead. I'll get them up on the blog while this edits and uploads to YouTube. Right hand side, just below the Twitter feed, oneofwisdom.com. That's where you can find everything. Select your favorite character, and again, don't consider just player versus player. Factor everything in. If Sprocket's your favorite character, but you like Pop Fizz's upgrades and Pop Fizz's pose better, give him the edge. Obviously, I guess if she was your favorite, you wouldn't do that, but you get what I'm trying to say. I've reiterated it several times. Bottom line, factor everything into this when you make your decision. The aesthetics of the pose, the upgrades, you can do the voice acting if you want to, how well you like them in gameplay, how well you like the upgrade pass, the soul gem, etc. And essentially our same old trusty format, but again, just in case there's new people coming in, we want to get that clear. Questions, comments you can ask here on YouTube. For a quicker response, I suggest you check the blog. There will be the link right at the top of the video description box for you. You can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+, whichever you prefer. Again, if you like what you see, this is actually the very first time I believe that I've ever requested this, but if you like what you see, make sure to subscribe. That way you'll stay up to date on everything. Like I said, Ghost Roaster Wham-Shell, that's going to be the marquee matchup in my book. The whole Castaway series is good this time around. And I think we're going to have some tight races, but again, the plan is to keep all of these open for a week since this one's kind of skewed, and since it's like our introduction to this round 2 of the showdown, if you will. I'm going to go ahead and I'll let this one run through Saturday, and then I'll extend it the week so we'll get back on track. So should be a few more votes this time around. I think that'll really add to the intensity of some of these matchups as well. But past that, barring anything crazy, me being out of town, storms, something crazy like that, we should see the format backwards every week we come in. You got 7 days basically, so pull for your favorites, tell your friends, get everybody you can to vote. We want to see who comes out. The more the merrier. That'll make things a lot more interesting. But again, big thanks to everybody that's participated thus far, put in what you wanted to see in terms of this continuing. And again, like I said, we've got 7 more matches, and then we will actually seed our tournament bracket, and we will continue on with something new. So, again, thanks for watching, and we will catch you back here for the results from this showdown.